Yo, what is good? So let me gonna minimize this, and then I'm gonna right click here. He's being mad slow today for some reason. So it's my internet. But we will prevail. The volume analysis you saw here is really optional. I will be doing like a bonus video showing that how it works with everything that you've been taught, but it's not necessary. It just helps assist in essentially it helps assist in finding liquidity in the most high volume trades per session. So it's a session volume tool. So I will be dropping a bonus video more towards the end of the live. You can really determine yourself. I don't know why this is not loading, whether it's going to be something you want to add, but what I am going to teach you, aside from that, will be more than enough to be able to become profitable long term. You know what I mean? So just be sure that you are aware of that coming video. I will be refilming the cop flip data video because maybe my mic got unplugged or something like that, but it I don't know, man. Let me real quick do my update for the group here. I'll wait for some people to get in here. Hit this button real quick. I'm gonna give everybody a couple of minutes. Euro, okay, where's pound and profit? Let's see here. Let's give everybody maybe 2 more minutes, and then we're going to do some breakdowns. Let me let this load. Let's see here. I can't remember how to hide here. I think it's in here. Give everybody 2 more minutes. Intraday approach. All right, so now that I got that out, we can actually break down this trade right here. And this is going to be more of a, here it is. I'm actually going to hide drawings for the time being. Is this the one? Boom. It is the one. Okay, so for now, we're going to hide those drawings. And I'm going to break down my thought process behind this trade. And this will be applying literally everything that you have learned so far. And I will be including prime market terminal in this. Close that. And essentially, we're getting kind of like towards the point of, did you put the work in or not so far? You know what I mean? It's going to show if you did not. I'll be, once again, taking everything that I've taught you so far to break down this trade. I took this trade this way on purpose. And like I said, I don't trade differently than when I teach. So this will literally be the things that you and me mutually agreed that we understood during the course of the live, each basic concept, you can put all those things together when looking on a chart, right? And basically be able to confirm some trades and take some trades from the given areas like bullish and bearish engulfings. that I've shown you that banks like to buy and sell from. So buy and sell from. So far, I've given you a lot of game as to how to become profitable consistently. Man, this is being slow. And you know how the banks work. That's what everybody wants to know, man. This is the top knowledge that maybe the top 0.5% of people who trade forex even know. And a lot of these big gurus out here definitely don't know this knowledge. Come on. And essentially, I'll be breaking down the prime market terminal side. If you don't have prime market terminal, then ignore this portion of the video, or maybe you're planning on getting prime market terminal. If you are planning on getting prime market terminal, this would be really good for you. Honestly, I would highly recommend it. It's great. So I'm just gonna double check and make sure I don't have any pending appointments today or anything like that. Nope, that's tomorrow. Okay, perfect. So what was my thought process behind this from a prime market terminal side, and then I'm gonna go and show you the actual technicals and show you why I took this trade short today. Okay, so your great response should be loading or loaded by now. Just about give it just like 30 more seconds. Things should start to pop up real quick here. So if you have prime market terminal, this will be a part of the trading plan I'm getting ready to break down. Especially if you intraday trade. This is the data that I consider specifically for my intraday trading strategy, right? And this will be in the PDF that I'm in the middle of making. I'm kind of doing it in spurts because I have so many other higher priority things that I need to do. And I might get it out to you guys as soon as I possibly can. So scrolling down, and then the actual trading plan for just using everything that I've taught you so far. We still have more to learn, but it all comes off of each other, you know, off the last topic, like just like it has been the entire time, right? So should be pretty easy to understand. So I looked here, right? And really I was kind of thinking about not even trading this given the Putin situation, the Ukraine situation, but I saw that Putin wanted to talk peace, so I just traded the markets as normal with like while watching news to be cautious. But we did have some significant reports for the euro coming out here. All these three level importance ones are going to be the ones that I'm looking out for. I did have those reports coming out, not being too big of a deal. And we had some more reports coming out as well, and kept up with that. But once those reports came out, I did check out seasonality was overall bullish here, and that was the long-term trend as to where banks plan on taking price. Going here, you had 91% of retailers also bullish. So immediately right there, I know retailers are trading with the overall trend and with the banks, right? Seasonality. So that's not good. I expect banks to be basically manipulating this week. Went over here and looked at the CLT data too, and it was obviously short, but I looked in more detail, and essentially, let me see something. Okay, maybe that'll be better. Okay, maybe you guys can hear me better. Let me see something. Yeah, it should be good. So I literally just started breaking this trade down. I'm not sure if my audio was on, but I think I might have had it in the wrong settings. But essentially, I'm getting ready to break down Euro Great British Pound, and with everything that I've taught you so far, and it'll be a very simply broken down trade that I'm taking for 3%, and we're gonna go from there. So Euro Great British Pound, you can see that, and I'm gonna break down prime market terminal side. You can see that the overall trend was long, and retailers here were also get over there. They were also like 91% long right here. So I looked here in more detail and to see when exactly did they do the massive influx of long positions. And let me break this down. They've really been long the entire time on this pair. There really was no specific time. They've been long the entire time on this pair, basically with the overall trend for quite some time. That's not very profitable for the banks. So they're basically going to have to manipulate in order to get these guys off par. So I immediately expected the banks to be selling. So I went to go look at that, and the actual positions of the banks right here, right live right in front of you for the whole week. You can see that they're short. And then we can go here into the COT data, and I can scroll to the right, and I can see that they were negative 4.9, and now they're negative 5.5, showing that they actually added some long lots. So let's see about that real quick. Percent of interest, short, you can see they went from 14% to 13%, and then they went from 9 to 7. So not really too much change right here. But if you go look at the Great British Pound in the same regard, leverage funds, leverage funds, leverage funds, and then every net position, you can see here in regards to the overall net position, they went from 1 to 4.8. Kind of looks like they added some long locks, but they went from 16 to 14 here. Not much change for the short side of things. And then they went from 17.90 to 19.60, showing that they added some long lots. But they are in sell territory. I'm going into sell territory from buy territory here. You can see that they're above the 50%, but now they're in the middle of heading down here. And then on the euro, this is also heading down into sell territory. So this is they have intention on actually dropping this overall. I would say that the overall of what happened was that they actually dropped a little bit more bearish lots. It's probably like about like 0.20. I didn't do the math, but I did earlier when I was actually looking. And that would make this overall short to trade against the retailers. And as you can see, there was no pattern scan. So automatically right here, I'm just going to be trading against the retailers. And yo, if you just got in here, right? I'm basically breaking down this trade real quick. And why I took this trade, and it's going to be based on literally everything that I've taught you so far. So I'm going to start doing this a lot, like more often, because it's about that time where you should be starting to get familiar with how the things actually work in real time, right? It's all about literally just looking for the same things that do the things that I tell you that they do, because there's evidence of that, right? So what I did was I'm going to explain this trade. So who remembers real quick about the buy and sell side liquidity, about how when buy stops get taken, they bank sell, etc. Open this drawing panel real quick. Who remembers that? The buy stop, sell stop stuff about liquidity. It was like week 1. Perfect. Okay, so I'm looking at my higher time frame. Oh yeah. Also, who remembers about the higher time frame stuff? About how whatever happens on the higher time frame is going to have a real big ripple effect to the lower time frames. So you can see the daily time frame is obviously selling right here. Even this current candle, you can see this current candle is going down real hard right here, right? So if you remember that, right, use just. And then did you watch the video about the imbalance and the fair value gaps too? Do you remember how those work? I think you got there to that point. Who remembers that and how they work? Perfect. That's all you need right there to be able to take this trade that I'm going to show you right there. That's all the knowledge you need right there. Those a couple little topics in order to take this trade. And then I don't really like talk about like actual monetary dollars or numbers, but I'm going to tell you how much I'm going to be able to make off of this trade, not to brag, but just to give you a perspective of how simple this really is, right? Remember, we're only using those 3 topics, right? We're using the liquidity, the buy stop, sell stop liquidity, the fair value gap / imbalance, order blocks, things like that. That's the only things that we're going to be looking for. And then the higher time frame concept too, right? That's all that we're going to be using in this whole example, right? Drop a 1 in the chat box if you think you can follow along with those. If I just use those couple topics to break down this trade and like actually understand why things are going where real quick. Okay, perfect. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to turn this on right here. And it's going to show all my markups, and I'll explain in order which one's which and my thought process behind it. So don't be intimidated. Boom. It's not that much, honestly. Not that many markups. I like to keep my chart simple. All right, so this is Euro Great British Pound, right? And today was President's Day, so I stayed away from US dollar pairs just because of the federal holiday. But drop a 1 in the chat box if you can see on the daily time frame, because remember, this is where we start off our analysis to get our direction, to get our to do our actual like real life analysis. Do you remember that you use the daily time frame in order to enter on like the 4 hour, 1 hour? I never even venture to say 30-minute time frame. And whatever's happening there is it's going to ripple down. Perfect. Okay. So this is buy side liquidity, right? All the way up to this wick right here. Drop a one in the chat box if you can see clearly, right? Just from your own experience, what this buy side liquidity is on the daily. Okay, perfect. Because that's the reason why we mark up the charts. Like any chance you get, I don't care if if you're on your phone, it doesn't matter. Any chance you get, practice seeing buy side liquidity, sell side liquidity, and then points where the banks obviously took that liquidity and then sold off, and vice versa. Looking for sell side liquidities, right? And then when the banks obviously bought off, for example, you can see where my cursor is. There was sell side liquidity here. What happened? The banks took it and then they bought off, right? Drop a one in the chat box if you remember that and that makes perfect sense to you. This is just based on your own experience. I'm breaking down this trade based on your own experience of what I've taught you so far. Okay, so that's the first thing I noticed, really, because I was looking for a sell here, right? I was looking to sell this because I knew this was going down just based off of that, right? I dropped down to the daily time frame, right? After I've done my GAN box, right? I knew it was going down because it was in the sell territory. So I went to go look. And when I looked on the daily, right? The first thing I'm looking at is there any buy side liquidity that's finna get taken or has been taken? And then if there hasn't, right? Then you're going to wait for that to happen, right? Because that's going to happen. If it has, like right here, you can see buy side liquidity got taken technically by this candle, but I just highlighted the highest one. Drop one in the chat box if you can see that. That was my first actual confirmation. Like the first clue, I guess you can say. Right after that, I saw that price. The actual banks did exactly what I tell you that it does after it takes the buy side liquidity and it drops all the way down to this point, right? So of course, if they take the buy side liquidity, right, what are they coming for, right? If they take buy side liquidity, they have to sell, stop these guys out. What are the next thing they're coming for? Remember that banks ping pong from buy side to sell side, and they'll take buy stops and then they'll take sell stops. What are they coming for next, right? What are they selling off to get? Exactly, right? So I looked here on the daily, right? So now I'm looking at where would the banks even want to go to? I look down here, there's a bunch of untouched sell side liquidity down here. Big candle right here, and if you look to your left, sometimes you gotta look to your left to see all of the liquidity, but this liquidity right here that hasn't been touched yet, you know what I mean? They haven't came down for that yet, right? Because if they're truly selling, right, then they're gonna come down for all of that, right? This is long term. So what I did after seeing all that was like, okay, well, this is definitely selling because it hasn't even taken the first little bit of liquidity, technically speaking. It hasn't even taken the first real major big liquidity after coming down. So I dropped down to my entry time frame from there, basically, right? And that's literally the extent of the daily right there time frame. Just a couple simple things that I noticed. Like, here's evidence of this going down. I dropped down to my entry time frame. Ignore this. I dropped down to my entry time frame, right? And looked at it on like a smaller time frame. So actually my bad, I was on hourly, right? So this is where I wanted to enter at after looking at that daily time frame stuff, right? I saw that there was, my bad, this is supposed to be buy side liquidity. Change the template. I saw that there was a little bit of buy side liquidity right here, right? Banks took it, but after they took that little bit of buy side liquidity right there, they created that bearish order block right here. Drop one in the chat box if you see that. And there goes a bank footprint right there of my sale happening, right? Remember, we're looking for bank footprints. Boom. So that came up, and basically I saw that after that happened, they had rejected this area a bunch of times. And here's that fair value gap I was telling you about. Here's candles 1, and here's candles 3, right? This is not a third bearish one. This is like I would say a B grade for like a fair value gap setup. The A grade one is going to be one bullet, basically a bearish engulfing plus one more full downward candle like this. You know what I mean? And then the third candle that's down, right, would create the gap. So this candle right here would be a downward candle, in other words, and it would create that gap. When you get the upper ones that still create the gap, that's like a B plus setup, I would say. And the actual 1, 2, 3 combo, the bearish order block plus another downward candle that creates the gap, that'd be like an A plus setup right there. So kind of keep that in mind. I took this because I knew the bank was going to use this B plus setup. So there's a bearish fair value gap right there on the hourly, right? But I from there, I marked that up because I had a feeling they're going to come fill that. But I did see right here as well, right? A bearish order block right here. Let me actually just take this and rewind it. Boom. Let me move the candles out the way. I saw a bearish order block right here and basically entered on the who remembers the algorithmic stuff I was telling you about the algorithmic retester? Did I cover that with you guys yet? About the algo? How it works? Perfect. So after I saw, yeah, I do remember I did cover that. Yeah. So after I saw this bearish order block form, right? After this rejection, so that's all I'm looking for is just either this to get filled or another order block to form, showing me again that the banks are still taking price down. I did get that, and I waited for I'll move this over to the right a little bit. After I got that, right, I just followed my plan, right? This is the bearish order block that was formed. I was looking for that algorithmic retest basically. And what you're looking for is a upward candle to come up and basically struggle, right? So I did get that. Let me zoom in a little bit. I did get that. Actually, that was a little bit quick. That was a little bit fast. Let's rewind that a lot. I did get that retest that I was looking for. Come on, I'll be rude. Get out of my way. I did get that retest that I was looking for. Boom. You can see the wick. It wicked out right there. And then the rest of the trend that followed was another retest. Whoops. And another retest, and another retest, and another retest, which created a bearish order block. And that's basically where we are currently at now. And then this candle happened as well. So ended up working out as a trade, in a trade idea. And basically what I was counting on was something simple, right? I was counting on a bearish order block for the institutional footprint, and then another bearish order block so I can get an algorithmic retest, right? I did get that retest right here. Boom, triggered my entry, and then it drops perfectly. And then I marked up all the liquidity on my actual entry time frame too, just to further validate the trade. Like, okay, there's sell side liquidity right here, there's sell side liquidity right here, and if you look, there's even sell side liquidity all over here. So I was like, well, they're definitely coming for that. And then obviously right here is going to be the daily liquidity that I marked up. So dropping one in the chat box if that trade makes sense as to like why I would take that and why I would take that in this area. I waited for my confirmations, and then I got in at the institutional where banks like to buy and sell from. I started off on the daily. I looked at the trade from a higher time frame. I was like, bet, buy side liquidity just got taken. Boom, boom, boom. Drop down to a lower time frame. Wait for the banks to show you that they're going to sell. After they showed me that they were going to sell, I got my entry. I even waited for an extra bearish engulfing, got my entry, and then now we're dropping, and that's 3%, right? So drop one in the chat box one more time, if that made sense to you as to why I even gotten into that trade, right? That means after I saw some more evidence of the trade going down, just with liquidity and everything else like that, right? I ended up executing on the trade, and now I'm in profit. Perfect. That's pretty much it for this video, honestly. It's just to show you that you don't need a lot of it's simple. Trading is simple. You just have to be able to repeat the same things over and over again. Kind of once you get like a full breakdown of the strategy top to bottom, towards the end of the mentorship, you'll be able to repeat the same processes over and over again and look for the same trade setups over and over again. You know what I mean? And it literally they'll either be the exact same ones or look very, very, very similar. So you're looking for the same 3 or 4 confirmations every time for buys and sells. It starts to become very repetitive, and in the forex industry, repetitiveness means money. I literally take this exact same setup. So when I take a sell tomorrow, I'm probably gonna look for this exact same setup or a similar setup to this. or maybe even a better one. Maybe I get the third candle being a downward candle, and that'll be even stronger setup. But this one did end up working out, and now I'm going to get 3%. So the amount monetary dollars from perspective, this short move, right, is $1,500, right? Pretty not bad, right? $1,500, and this is a day trade. I entered this on the hourly, and it's Monday, so by Tuesday, maybe night, this will probably end up going out here and smashing my take profit. And that's basically to show you that like that just you can make money just with those a few concepts that I've showed you so far. And that's not even everything. That's just a few that I kind of picked that were in this that I applied in this trade, you know, and breaking down this trade. Drop a one in the chat box if that blows your mind. And this is 62 pips, by the way. You can see here 62.6 pips. It's pretty simple, right? A lot of people would be intimidated by trying to take this trade, but like when you're being mentored by somebody, right, you have to go into the charts and actually look at these things over and over again. How was I able to spot all of these things? Because I've seen them a million times. That's why my brain, I have a permanent photo memory of what a bearish engulfing looks like, what buy side liquidity looks like, and things like that. You're going to be so into these charts, bro. And like you'll be glad you put in the work. Trust me. You'll be glad when you're making $500, $1,000, $1,500 a day plus, and you're still taking the same trades as when you were only making $100 a day. You know what I mean? So it's very worth the journey. It's very worth the work. The great thing about you is that you have a shorter path than I had. I didn't have a mentor coming up. I kind of self-taught myself, and I had a few people who helped me out here and there along the way, and basically you know, I'm mostly self-taught. You know, I sought out my own knowledge, but now you have a shortcut where in 1 to 3 months, depending on how fast you understand this, you could be in a whole nother situation. You know, you can go get funded up to $200,000, right? And instantly start making $1,500 to $3,000 plus a day, right? The money, the people, like I said, the people out here want to pay you in order to trade their clients' money. All you have to do is learn how to trade, and the money is there. You don't have to save up money for your personal account to immediately be making 15,000 a day. It's the same thing. You're risking 1%, right, of a $200,000 account. That's 2,000, but it's still only 1% to make 4, 6, 8 back. Yeah, the 60-40 rule here in the U.S. You can choose to be taxed on and this is not tax advice. You can be choosing, and I'm not a tax consultant, but you can choose to be taxed on your gains. You can see forex traders, they fall, if you day trade it, you fall under a category called a spot trader, and essentially they get the best tax rate. It's like 6% or something like that. Once you start making money, you can hire a CPA that specializes in investing, and then basically they'll handle your taxes for you. You'll be able to deduct your losses off your taxes and things like that. But it's all good. The taxes for traders in the United States are actually pretty nice. But yeah, the 60-40 rule is definitely a thing. You don't have to be taxed under the 60-40 rule because you would likely be a day trader. So you get the 66%. But that trade makes sense to you, right? Like why I got into it and everything. And you can now see that just with the basic concepts alone, you know what I mean? Looking for evidence of the things that I showed you already, you can actually be profitable with that. And this is actually a part of this trade goes towards a real FTMO challenge that I'm taking right now. I'm actually documenting the entire thing and showing everybody what it takes to be able to pass one of these and then actually get funded and be able to make some real money. So yeah, document the process. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it for this video. This is more of like an example video of things that you've learned. I pretty much just want you to study this video and then maybe even go over day 1 to today's videos and check all of those out and make sure that you are in complete understanding of everything, since everything builds off of each other. Because here in the next maybe like 2 to 6 weeks, maybe depending on how long you take, you're gonna have an opportunity to become very profitable. But like I'm gonna need you to be very committed to this and like putting in the work, because in a few months here you could be you and your family could be getting your first real withdrawal from a funding provider and making well over $20,000 in a 30-day time span. It just depends on how fast you get these concepts. I'm no smarter than anybody else, honestly. I'm just a normal person. You know what I'm saying? You literally went to high school with me. I'm just a normal person, bro. Um, if I can understand this, everybody can understand this. I promise you. And once you get this in your system, and it's all about studying. Put in the work, and your family will be set up very nicely for the rest of your life. To be honest, you can do this until you die, because as long as the world's not ended, you can trade the foreign exchange market here. And even if their economy is in a recession, like let's just say the U.S. economy goes into a big recession, right? You can still profit. If the whole world's in a recession, you know what that just means? That means you're just gonna have all these pairs selling off, and you can still make money, even in the deepest recession. Isn't that crazy? That's why I was so attracted to learning this skill, just because even in a recession, you can make money and still make a lot of money. So the only time the markets are slow are during holidays. You know what I mean? Like Christmas and stuff like that. The month of December is kind of weird, but other than that, it's cool. So yeah, man. The work, for perspective, I was putting in about 16 hours a day. I'm not saying that you have to, but I had to work a little bit harder because I didn't have like a direct mentor. I kind of sought out my own knowledge, but now people have access to where they'll be able to learn an entire skill here in just a few months, and really, be out here killing the game and turning their family around from going from wherever they're at to instantly making six figures a year, right? That's powerful. And all you gotta do is learn one more skill. Just one more. That's it. This is the last thing you really have to learn in order to be successful in life. Right here. This is it right here. And so far, all of the concepts right here, right? All the concepts so far you've understood. So that just shows that this was meant for you, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't understand it, right? Drop a one in the chat box if that makes sense. If this wasn't for you, you wouldn't understand it from day one. You probably wouldn't understand it from day one, but you so far have gotten everything. You see how everything works together. Please, 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 please make sure that you're on these charts, on your phone. If you can, go get a laptop, and just make sure that you are putting in the work. You know, even if you only have 15 minutes here and there, right? Because you have kids. I understand. I have kids too. To 5 minutes on the charts is better than nothing. Those 5 minutes add up. If you're doing little spurts throughout the day, you got you're like, damn, I only got 2 minutes real quick. Boom. That's a buy side liquidity. That's a sell side liquidity. Oh, okay, my 2 minutes is up. I got something else to do. I gotta go to work real quick. You gotta work on your break, eating your food. Boom. Let me see. This is a bearish order block. This is a bearish order block. This is a fair value gap. This is a fair value gap, and mark it up. And then, you know what I'm saying? Eventually you'll get so used to seeing the things, right? You get so used to seeing the things that when you get taught how to do all of the analysis put together, right? To how to apply literally everything top to bottom. And then when I teach you that, top to bottom, right? All you have to do is rinse, wash, and repeat exactly what I show you in that order, right? I show you what to consider and what order to consider. Step one, this. Step two, look for this. If this doesn't happen, then you don't have a trade. You know what I mean? It's either A, B, or C, and you really can't mess that up. Drop one in the chat box if that makes sense. And if A doesn't happen, then you don't move on to B and you don't have a trade. You know what I mean? And if B does happen, and then look for C to happen. If C doesn't happen, wait for C to happen and then enter the trade. And then by executing that without thinking, right? It's called a systematic strategy with concepts that actually work. You end up having at least a 70% win rate, 70 to between 50 and 70% win rate, which is good. Now, I'm not promising you a 50 to 70% win rate, but it's very possible, because with my own strategy, with the own things that I teach you, I'm pushing out 75, 80, sometimes 90%, sometimes in certain weeks, because I'm focusing on only quality and only like trades that I get my actual confirmations for, and I'll go from there. But I will see you guys on Wednesday, and we will actually get back into more of the technical stuff on Wednesday. I just wanted to show you another example of a trade that I actually took, where with real numbers running, just using the concepts that I showed you guys so far. If that makes sense, man, basically just study this video and make sure that you're on top of the education, so that in a couple of months you can spend your summer like just relaxing, honestly, because you're going to spend maybe 2 hours a day on the charts. in the mornings or whatever session you like to trade, and then you're going to be able to relax for the rest of the day because you've already made $1,500 to plus dollars for the whole day. And you've only worked 2 hours. So very worth it, man. Make sure you put in the work. And Wednesday we're going to get back into technical stuff, but like I said, it will go off of the last thing that you learned, and then it all intertwines together at the end. So if you don't have any questions, I will see you guys